Ready? Get a little closer. Alright, go.
Alright, I'm here with Professor Bill Scott with BJJ Shore Academy. Bill, what got you started in BJJ?
Actually, one of my buddies came into our wrestling club and started rolling around with us, you know, in wrestling. And he was good at jiu-jitsu. He was like a blue belt. We had never heard of it back in like '99. We heard of it, but weren't really didn't know much about it. Armbarred me a few times. I was, you know, intrigued that he did it that easy because he was a little guy. He wasn't a wrestler, and you know, I kind of was interested at that point. He brought me to his school where I first started up in Bridgewater. Alex Wilkie, real good guy, but I was looking more for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at that point, and you know, I stayed with Alex a little bit, but ended up going to Ricardo Alameda's. You know, looked up on the internet, found that Ricardo had just come into the country at that point. He was a brown belt, and I went up and started training with him up in Williamboro, and was with him up until I received my black belt about three and a half years ago.
Now, obviously, Ricardo trained you to your belt. I know you're under the Gracie system. What Gracie is your system on?
Ricardo is Henzo's first black belt. Henzo got his black belt from Carlos Gracie Jr. It's Carlos Gracie Jr., then it's Henzo, then it is Ricardo, then it is me. And I was probably about his fourth black belt. Rob Shire was his first, then Chad Beatty and Stevie Bongiorno, and then me, Brian McPherson, and Steve Kim received our black belts all together.
How many other Gracies have you trained with?
Trained with quite a few of Henzo's cousins and brothers. Trained with Hein, Half, Hodger, of course, the best Gracie, you know, on the planet, and the best grappler on the planet. You know, Daniel, Igor, Gregor, quite a few Gracies. You know, a lot of them training in Manhattan, and will come here from Brazil. Some of them live here. Igor, Gregor, and Holes live here and instruct for him. So Daniel also. Hodger is here quite often. Helion Gracie, you know, so quite a few. I was real lucky to be able to, and a lot of training with Henzo. You know, Henzo, he's the greatest. To this day, he's the man. You know, once you meet, as far as I'm concerned, once I met Henzo, you know, you meet all these fighters in the UFC, and it's not really a big deal after training with Henzo. Because of course, us guys that train with him, you know, he's the man. You know.
I understand you're very competitive in your art. How many MMA fights have you had?
I've had five MMA pro fights, and did my first one in 2000, and kind of that's what got me interested more in BJJ, because I was with Alex Wilkie, won the fight but fought a Lloyd Irving. He was a brown belt at that time, real good guy named Dave Womack, and black belt judo, black belt and brown belt in jiu-jitsu. He's a black belt now, and beat him. Just was lucky enough to get submitted because Alex Wilkie was a purple belt under Coiler and David Adib. So we did a lot of BJJ at his school. So I learned enough at that point not to get submitted, but wanted to really, you know, further my game in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Hold it for a second.
Yeah, fine.
Guys, Tone, start that clock. You're going to do a match with the guy you're with right now. Give us 6 minutes on that clock. You guys ready? Hit the ground. If you're training in a gi, you're going to stay with your partner. All right? You guys ready? Take your gi top off. And I'll put you up with somebody that has a gi. You guys ready? Finnegan, start that clock when everybody's ready.
Start.
All right. Begin, guys. All right. Where were we?
How many professional MMA fighters have you brought up or been associated training with?
MMA fighters?
Yeah.
Actually, Kurt started with me, and we started training together. I brought him two Ricardos with me, fresh out of wrestling. See, we're lucky we come from Brick Memorial High School. Kurt actually came from the town over Point Barrow, but short area, super studs, and in wrestling, and a lot of we got a good feed program for the MMA, such as Ryan Vaccaro, wrestled at Long Branch, of course Nick, Rick Memorial. A lot of my guys, a lot of them that do the BJJ class are not wrestlers, but quite a few wrestlers do get into it, you know. And you'll find that a lot of the wrestlers are having success in the in MMA, you know. But you know, I suggest that learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you know. So a lot of my guys that started with me as wrestlers got that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background before they jumped into MMA fights, where some of the other guys just kind of wrestler, they jump right into the MMA. And you know, they've been pretty successful, as you can see, with Kurt and Nick and Ryan. As a, you know, Ryan's 2-0 as a pro, and was a new breed champ. He was like 7-1 in new breed. He held the belt. You know, Kurt is still having a great career. You know, and Nick is doing really well right now too in the UFC. Going to did 4 fights in the UFC already.
All right, what are your recommendations for anyone out becoming a fighter? Like, what camp should they pick? What school? How should they go about becoming a fighter?
That's all preference, you know. Schools they're all different. As you train at a school, you know, you kind of go into a school, feel it out, and see what suits you the best. Kind of where you feel comfortable at, you know. Me personally, especially learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you know, when I started, Ricardo was fighting Pride and Pancreas. You know, he's you know, he was fighting MMA, he was training, doing Abu Dhabi, so and he was doing real well. He held the belt, and you know, he won 7 straight fights, and so we really were into learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as an MMA fighter. And same with Nick. Nick did his first grappling tournament before he did his first MMA fight. You know, he learned he was a blue belt when he did it. Went into the you know, Naga Worlds and beat a good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt in the finals. You know, so yeah, I like the learning the BJJ before you jump into the MMA. You know, but again, that's all preference. You know, up to the individuals. So some guys jump right in, learn the hard way.
Alright,
Yo, hold on. Battery's dying. So
Shore came to train you. Is that true? And if so, what exactly went down?
Yeah, the guys were here. They called up when they were in the middle of their, you know, filming their season. At that point, it was a show, but they hadn't even named it. And they just said that they had some guys that wanted to come in. I actually knew one of the guys that was working on the show, so they were looking to come in and do some training, and they did. And you know, they didn't really air any of the video that was here. They shot, you know, from when they got out of the van to when they left, but no drama. So it never made the show. They were really nice guys, to be honest with you. So I mean, totally different than what you were seeing on TV. You know, they came in here. We didn't know what to expect at that time. So you know, they wanted a semi-private class. The producer said so. I had, you know, 6 of them, some pretty tough guys, because we didn't know how they were going to be when they came in. So I think they were a little intimidated when they came in. So they were really well behaved, and you know, they, as you know, training. If you don't know anything and you come in here and you roll with, like, you know, brown belt or something like that, you know, it's a humbling experience. Yeah. So we had no problems with those guys. But they were good guys.
Last question. Obviously UFC 111 is coming up. Pellegrino and Soto are fighting. What are your picks for GSP Hardy, Mir Carwin, and obviously Pellegrino and Soto?
I'm going to go with Mir. I'm a wrestler and jiu-jitsu.
I probably have like a minute.
Talking about Mir winning.
Mir, you know, I predict, you know, you can't kind of, you know, it's tough to predict nowadays because anything can happen, but I'd like to see Mir win.